Hey guys, it's here bringing you another video and welcome to another Challenger Spectate. Today, bit of a different episode, not really a champion I normally kind of do content on. We're watching Qiyana. Now, there's a couple reasons why we're watching Qiyana. The video title, I'm not trying to mean to, you know, bait people, if you will. But I seem to have a difference of opinion to a lot of people. I actually don't think Qiyana's that hard of a champion. Hello, Jana. I don't think Qiyana's that hard to play. She's got some prime mechanics that you learn, you know, her elements, and then a very quite linear combo. And once you learn that, and if you know you're a player that just gets used to it and you play actively, I don't think she's that hard. I don't think she's on like Riven's level or anything like that, where the combo can vary. I think her combo, Qiyana's, is quite the same most of the time. But is there a chance that I might play this champion? That is the question. The answer is actually yes. So the thing with Qiyana that I think is different to some champions that I would say I generally don't love is sometimes I feel you don't really get beat by the player you're against, you get beat more by the champion. And I do think that's partially true with Qiyana, but it's not the full way. You know, it's not Kassadin level, which I will say we have a Kassadin video coming out in the next few days, and you'll find out why. But I do think there is skill to play Qiyana. I just don't think she's as hard as most people think. And maybe that's just a difference of experience or just rating. I don't know. But I've played her a handful of times myself, and most of the time I'm just kind of like, yeah, I get it. It doesn't mean I can play insanely well on her instantly, or every game I could get fed on her. That's obviously not how it works with League. But you know, I don't think she's in the top 5% hardest champions. I don't think she's, let's say in this game right now, I don't think she's Gangplank level. But let me know what you think of that yourself. So the matchup that we're watching, Qiyana versus Zilean, in theory, it could actually be quite a good matchup for Zilean. Why? Even though I don't love Zilean mid, because fundamentally you're doing, you know, Zilean mid is doing the exact same job in mid than he's doing in support. You know, yes, he arguably will do more damage in mid lane, but it's the same job. You're looking for double stun bombs, you're looking to revive people or yourself at the right time, deny movement speed, mobility, or increase movement speed for your teammates. Obviously this game, you've got Zilean and a Hecarim, so granting Hecarim movement speed is fantastic, but he kind of does the same job. So that's why I've never loved Zilean in mid lane. But at the same time, he's actually quite a good counter pick to champions, in theory, like Qiyana or Zed. Something that quite goes all in, and has that kind of just one big whoosh of damage that he can, even though if he does get one shot, which he likely would to a Qiyana, he can kind of just go and ult myself. And he should be relatively okay. And also, you know, he likely will build Everfrost, and that's a very good item against a Qiyana, because you can just stop her, or freeze her technically, in her tracks. But obviously, this is one of the components that I personally know I would struggle with if I did start playing the champion. So she roams, she gets double buffs, kills Hecarim. That right there is mostly what I would struggle with. I don't like roaming. I'm well known to not love roaming. But Qiyana is a champion that, I'm going to say it, needs to roam. She is a Katarina-esque champion. They are typically not the strongest of laner. So they typically get bullied in early game lane phase, you know, because obviously they're melee. So a ranged champion will poke them down quite easily. And so they try to find opportunities to snowball elsewhere. And their abilities and everything, it lands them, you know, it lands them in good opportunities to roam. Is Qiyana's kit and Katarina's kit, these type of champions, their kit is built for roaming. And, you know, I know that, and I think sometimes people, when I get a bit annoyed by a Katarina roaming, they're thinking like, oh, what, does Huz think she shouldn't roam? No, that she should. That is literally what a Katarina's for. Sometimes I think it's a bit crazy and a bit too much, but that's kind of what they're for. And Qiyana's very similar. I would say Qiyana's a little bit more lane-centric than a Katarina is. But she does have that element to her. So just to say, by the way, runes, we have got First Strike, Magical Footwear, Biscuit Delivery, Cosmic Insight, Sudden Impact, Treasure Hunter, and attack damage, magic resist. Now, some people might go, First Strike's a bit weird. When you're melee against a ranged champion, you're never going to be able to proc it. She arguably isn't really taking First Strike, and, you know, she can proc it more and more as the game goes on with just those WQ. But arguably, she's not really taking it for the gold, because I imagine a Qiyana, a roaming Katarina that's quite active, she will probably get fed without the gold of First Strike. She's taking it for it bonus damage. So eventually, Qiyana is obviously kind of a one whoosh combo champion, including her ultimate, etc. And that's, you know, when she lands that on somebody with First Strike damage, that is, how much damage is it extra again? 9% extra damage. It's not bad. All right, here we go. And then there's Rome. Kills the Janna, who was nowhere near her, but that's just the strength of Qiyana. Zilean trying to roam. Lovely stun. Actually, really nice play there. He's obviously desperately trying to do something, but I honestly don't think he's going to be able to do that much. This is one of the problems with Zilean. He doesn't really do much damage until really late game. If he goes desperate for this, he's going to end up dead. There's the revive. And if a good Bard stun happens, it doesn't yet, and he misses. Oh, if I was Zilean, I'd be backing away, man. Why? You've used your bombs and now you're dead. Yeah. So the Zilean didn't play that too well. I think he probably is getting a little bit frustrated that, you know, oh, the Qiyana against me is now, well, at the time she was 202 and now she's, well, no, she was 301 and now she's 302. I think that was just, not tilt, I'm not going to say, but that's just frustration of the Zilean. You're seeing your lane opponent just becoming so fed. And let's be honest, what this Zilean, there's not a lot he could have done about it so far. And that's one of my frustrations when you're against a champion like Qiyana or Cat. When you are like a mage player, Riot themselves have admitted that mages need work and they're a bit weak at the moment because their laning does suck when you're against something like this. You cannot punish a Qiyana or a Cat or any roaming champion in general. You cannot punish them enough to make them not want to roam. So, you know, already Qiyana got, obviously, the kill on Hecarim. She didn't get punished at all for. And Zilean is dead. Has to use the flash, but gets the kill. Nice roam by Bard. But yeah, like that is part and parcel of why it feels kind of sucky as a mage player when you're against a roaming mid. Because, oh, you know, Qiyana's roaming at level 3, level 4. Okay, I'll push the lane in, but she kills a jungler, she gets double buff, she comes back to lane, and she's smiling. Like, there's not a lot you can do to punish that. And that is why, you know, why am I potentially considering playing a bit of Qiyana? She is satisfying to play, there's no doubt about that in my mind at all. That's a lot of damage. Hecarim might even go for this all in. Yeah, she makes a mistake, actually. So she went for that play, and I think what actually happened is I think the Qiyana was expecting Sylas to come over and help, and obviously that didn't happen. But Sylas now, really weird kind of timing, does get the kill. Qiyana gets an assist. He stops doing blue and then comes over. If he just did that at the same time that Qiyana was around, maybe that would have been fine. But obviously, it's solo queue. We're in challenger play, so in theory there's no duo queues. Yeah, miscommunication or just not the right, you know, ideas differ. So you're not always going to be on the same page. But yeah, Riot has said that they are going to do something to mages, but it's going to take them a while to get it right. And the reason, by the way, because some people may be confused about it, Riot have said is mages still and will get picked. Even though they are technically probably in mid lane on the weaker side of the role, assassins, roaming mids, etc. They are stronger. But mages still fundamentally are really picked. So they need to do a change that, you know, it's already a popular group of champions. So many people will be confused about them getting buff. Ooh, does get the root. Gangplank ulti. Really focusing the Janna because probably after is can now try to get the Qiyana, but, sorry, the Xayah. But it just isn't on without her ulti. But yeah, we'll obviously have to see what's in store for mages. I don't know if this is going to happen this season, but it'll be nice if we do. I think part of it is an item problem. I think they could easily invest a bit more into items. Oh, Ooh, does get the flash, and there you go. So again, that's just the pressure something like Qiyana can create. So again, going back over to why I'm considering Qiyana, because so many people are like, Huz, you haven't even played a Zed game yet this season. Isn't he your AD assassin mid? Usually, yes. Zed is one of my favorite champions in the game. So usually I would say Zed is my AD assassin mid. But, and this is where I say but, Qiyana can do, in my opinion, so much more than a Zed. And similar-ish playstyle. You know, I'd say Zed isn't probably as roam-centric, but he can be. But Qiyana can just do so much more. What AD assassin mid laner in a team fight could, in theory, stun all 5 enemies? And they don't even have to be that stacked. They could be just hugging a wall, and she could stun all 5. Zed can't do that. He doesn't have a stun. You know, Talon doesn't have a stun. Name an AD mid laner, and most of them don't have a stun, let alone being able to stun the whole enemy team. It's just very powerful. So roaming coming down from Qiyana. Is she going to let the kill? Nope, she's not. It kind of looked like she might have wanted to, but then didn't in the end. Zilean, right now, you can see it just feels probably a bit lost. And I feel, I literally feel for the Zilean. Why? Because I see myself in this Zilean. I wouldn't play Zilean mid, even though technically it could work against a Qiyana. But I have been in this Zilean's shoes of you don't know what to do. Because you're literally watching. Qiyana is not going back to mid anymore. Like, she is bot lane now permanently. And, you know, as the Zilean, you kind of go, so wait, should I go back to mid and farm? And that hopefully will bring her back to mid. But then you do that and, oh, Qiyana's just killed another couple people in bot lane. Oh. Or it's just really messy of knowing what to do. And this is just what I would say is a champion that can create so much pressure. Pressure is the key word. If you think right now in, let's just say, your last 5 to 10 games of solo queue, you know, try to mentally picture that while you're listening to me right now. Picture your last 5 to 10 games of solo queue and think about how you won it or how you lost it. The word pressure should come up of, was it you getting fed in mid lane and creating so much pressure that the enemy team just folded and died? Did you put pressure on the enemy mid laner that they tilted out of the game? Did you lose a game because your AD carry got beat in the early game and then just gave up? That is pressure in a nutshell. And there are some champions that can just apply. Oh, he didn't general. There's some champions that can just apply that pressure more commonly than others, especially in solo queue. Because some people say, like, well, why isn't Qiyana then picked in every pro game? Because pro play and solo queue are fundamentally different. They're very different things. So Qiyana's waiting in the sides here to try and have the enemy team fully committed. Does show herself a bit. Is going to then engage. Does have ulti. Does get feared into the stun. Is getting shielded a bit, but it doesn't matter. No really mana on Qiyana, but enough to do her combo. And while she's at it, she's just going to take red buff, because why not? Janna on her way to, I would say, bit of an odd move for the enemy team. They're losing the game considerably, and they're aggressively invading the enemy's jungle with a support and jungler. It's a bit weird, would say that. Build-wise from Qiyana, so obviously did get a tier for Mana Immune, or Mirror Mana eventually. Prowler's Claw, clearly, to help stay on top of people. And so many people are going to say right now, which I always laugh about it. So many people, when I leave base not with full mana, go, Huz, why are you leaving base without full mana? Challenger people don't. You know, part of it, and, you know, I don't do it because Challenger people do it. It's just an instinctual thing of, that'll be fine, I can get back. And part of it, I will say, is she's got Mirror Mana. So I don't think Qiyana technically is designed for Mirror Mana. It's just the item is quite good at the moment, but that will give her way more mana regen than technically the champion really should have. So her mana is probably okay, to be honest. She shouldn't take this red as well. She just took her own jungler's red. There we go. I weirdly thought that, like, Ivan passive happened then, but it didn't. So Qiyana's going to go to the bot lane. So she's level 10. Zilean's level 9. Gangplank, obviously, if you notice, is Aldawamne. He's a pro. He's level 12. Now, the weird thing, and again, this is where I'm in my own little bubble sometimes, and I don't fully keep up with everything that's going on in League. Apparently, Gangplank's really strong at the moment. He's actually getting a nerf in the upcoming patch, and I've not played a single game of Gangplank, I think, this whole season. So yeah, a little bit peculiar that I've not played one game. You can see his build, by the way. Some people might think that's troll. It's not. Right now, that Gangplank is probably sitting on about 100% crit. How much has he got? 65% crit. So, crit build is, you know, the beast. It'll be interesting to see if he can go Navori, if he goes Navori or Infinity Edge. I don't know. Again, people keep telling me about these AD carry changes that are happening, and I think part of it is you can build both Navori and Infinity Edge, which is going to be very strong. I don't know if that's technically just for AD carries, because if Gangplank can build both of those items, maybe that's why he's getting a nerf. Because if he wasn't getting a nerf, and now he can build both of those items, or will be able to, ooh, Gangplank's going to be very strong. So that's going to be interesting to see. And yeah, he goes Navori Quick Blades, by the way. Very strong item. But yeah. Right, so 4v1. Silas escapes, also has the revive himself, so that's going to give him that little bit more extra confidence. Dragon is coming up very soon. You can see how confident this Silas is, because he knows I can all in, and if I just ult at the right time, I'm all good. And my team's nearby, so they'll back me up if required. Dragon is up right now, but again, neither team seems to want to go for it fully yet. Alright, so tower, mid is still not obviously being taken fully. Oh, look at that Gangplank Q. Oh, double stun, bad by them. Bard ulti. Qiyana's going to try and escape. Big ulti onto the Cassante. He ults over to here. Does get the kill. Don't even know if he really needed to ult, to be honest. Again, Cassante himself really overpowered at the moment as well. Does get 2 huge shutdowns. So yes, he does die officially, but that's pretty big for that Cassante. And it does... the one thing I will say about League of Legends as well, what is nice about the game, and you know, a lot of us give Riot, you know, quite a hard time, and they have deserved a hard time in some aspects. You know, we've seen how the mess that the season was, the season start. We didn't even know what day really the season was starting. It was just an absolute disaster. I've never known anything like it, you know, for the 10 plus years I've played this game. Not sure why Hecarim would attempt to do that. That was weird. So yeah, Riot on some aspects does deserve, like, being held accountable on all this stuff. But what I would add, meanwhile Zaya has ghosted, by the way. Oh, she's got Gale Force. One thing I will say is Riot does change the game a decent amount. Yes, they've got, I would say, their favorites, the current balanced team. They've kind of kept a similar playstyle in some lanes, probably longer than they should have. But what was my track of thought? I've literally gone blank. Oh, they do change the game enough that a champion like Cassante, when he was getting tested on PB, and even when he first came out, he was ridiculously weak, like beyond weak. They buffed him, they actively change him, and now obviously he's a bit too strong. And that, by the way, is 2 things. One, when he first came out, yes, he was on the weaker side, but it's also because people are learning him. You know, even I was learning him. Everyone's learning him when you give him a go, and it's like, oh, damn, he's really weak. Part of it is, yes, he was a bit weak. Also, we all needed to get a bit better at him as well. But then they buffed him, and now the combination of the buff and people have learned how to play him properly, it's just pushed him over the edge. So it's both a positive and a negative. I think some people will probably find, like, them actively changing and reacting to how the game is sometimes is good. I would say, again, goes for the combo. Hecarim just gets absolutely destroyed. And ults away to escape. Enemy team following up. Oh, so close to get that Hecarim. Oh, the ulti. Bonk does block it. Very nice. But yeah, that Hecarim just got 1 shot. I will say, obviously, well, I was going to say, normally a Hecarim is really squishy. This Hecarim's actually gone Yak Show, probably because he's not had the best of game. So normally a Hecarim, you know, I've even seen recently going like Duskblade. You know, I've had a recent ranked game. Our game was kind of lost because our Hecarim kept getting 1 shot, even though he was fedish. He kept getting 1 shot in late game. This one's actually got a more tanky build to try and survive, and still Qiyana annihilated him. So now overstay seems to be happening in mid lane, but Qiyana is now off to side lane. Again, another thing this isn't just a Qiyana thing, and it's something that I've said literally for years. Does get the tier 2 side, very nice. It's literally something that I've said for years that I need to do more as a mid laner, is, you know, side lane more. And what side lane gives you ultimately, it's not exactly split pushing. You know, even though it looks like split pushing, it's not what you're intending to do. What you're intending to do is continue getting solo experience. You know, when you're laning mid, when you're laning in mid by yourself, you're getting solo. Ooh. No mana on the Qiyana, by the way, but still does that much damage. It's not bad. You might think that wasn't great, but she did stop the Baron. Just depends if the enemy team are going to try and continue it now, but it doesn't look like they can. So yeah, that's actually a pretty good play that Qiyana just did. Even though she didn't get a kill directly herself, the Xayah died, and that means they can't do Baron. So yeah, not bad. That's kind of one of those plays that you're taking a death for the greater good, and that's always not a bad thing to do at the right time and all that stuff. So her build, by the way, has continued to be then Grudge, which obviously is a good item. The slow, I've always, you know, when they announced the item, I was always like, oh, you're giving a slow to AD assassins, okay, but obviously it's still a thing. And now she's got Kingle Gem. Not sure what Kingle Gem officially would be for, but yeah. And by the way, the Zilean has not gone Everfrost this game. He has gone Crown, which Crown is technically a good item against Qiyana, because as I've said before and have said already quite a bit this game, Qiyana generally is an all-in whoosh one combo type of champion. They don't have to be, you know, you can as a Qiyana do your WQ to proc their Crown and then re-engage a few seconds later. Her cooldowns are pretty damn low. K'Sante getting caught, not great for him. Again, obviously K'Sante's quite popular now to not go flash. Ghost obviously is a strong summoner, so yeah. All right, here we go. Oh, boom! What the hell, man? She didn't even hit that combo perfectly, and she nearly, well, she one-shot Xayah and nearly one-shot Janna as well, and she didn't even do that correctly. Like, the combo was not clean. And now she can chase with all the mobility that she has. She can chase down a Zilean. Has flash up, by the way, but just didn't use it. But that's my point, is like, what AD champion in the position that she was in could have done that? I would wager not many. You know, could have a Zed that fed if he W'd and did his combo? Could he have done that? I think he probably could have one-shot one of them. I think, like, you know, oh, Xayah just got instantly exploded. Yeah, but I don't think Janna would have got as exploded at the same time. Like, that's the point. I just think Qiyana has got that absolute power that normally in the class of assassin doesn't exist. Team fights are usually the absolute weakness of assassins. Even something like a Katarina, who can absolutely pop off in team fights because of their reset mechanic and spin and AoE, a lot of Katarinas do not like to get to team fight phase. They try to snowball the game before team fights happen, because in a team fight as an assassin, you're going to be chain CC'd. You're going to be focus CC'd. That's their weakness. So, yeah. I just don't... Yeah, Black Cleaver. Oh, that's what she got with Kingle Gem. Again, feel free to comment down below what other champion in the assassin category, or AD assassin category, do you feel could have done what she just did? I don't know if one exists. I think that's where Qiyana is is an individual as a champion. That's her absolute strength. And it's a big strength, you know, that's the thing. So why is she waiting off here? She's trying not to fully show for a while to make the enemy think that she might be going back to stop a K'Sante. Now, do I think this K'Sante split pushing is good? No. Because literally, if this goes semi-wrong, the game's over, and the K'Sante's up top lane not really going to end the game or achieve that much. So, no, I don't think he should be split pushing, really. Here we go, engage, and again, bit of a weird engage, has to be said. You know, they're engaging actively themselves. Does miss her ultimate. They're actively engaging when K'Sante isn't there. Nice push. He obviously has made his way back, because he had to, otherwise the game was over. But yeah, he probably should have been there at the beginning of the whole thing. Does ulti gonna kill the Gangplank, who, and by the way, himself is pretty damn strong. Oh, has the range to kill the Cassante. Because that's another thing. For a melee champion, Qiyana's also pretty ranged. That's the weird thing. But yeah, let me know what you think of Cassante. Let me know what you think, sorry, of Qiyana. Would you be interested in seeing me giving her a go? I still don't love the champion. I don't still think she's healthy, but there is partial skill to play the champion. But I don't think she's really hard. I would, you know, if there's, you know, I did a tier list the other month of like how easy do I think are champions. I'd put her in about the mid range. Like, I know in some commentaries I've said, oh, she's easy. That's just me being a bit plebby doing a live commentary. But yeah, she's definitely not hard. I would put her in the mid. Once you've learned that combo, and it's not that hard to learn, I think she's pretty mediocre. The main thing with her is timing. And roaming. You know, roaming is usually your lane phase isn't going to go that well, so you have to roam to try and build that advantage. So timing your roams and timing when you're using abilities is her major thing. The combo you'll get pretty quickly when you pick the champion up. Obviously, another element of her decision making is picking the right element at the right time. That is also a skill, you could say, as well. Do I pick, obviously, do I take the invisible from the bushes, or do I take the route from the river? There's that element too, which obviously that's just decision making. Every champion has a form of that. But yeah, I might play a game of this champion if it comes up. I don't know if I'll play it. You know, we're going to start on... Riot has given me my Riot account for the year, so I technically can start on Ranked to Diamond soon. Maybe I'll play a game with her in Unranked to Diamond before I play it on the main account, but I'm not starting on Ranked to Diamond until February, so it won't be then at least. But anyway, let me know what you think. If you guys enjoyed, do throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace, restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime and